The applause from the fair faded quickly, but something quieter followed Ethan home, something heavier than sound. It lingered in the dust on the road, in the way the barn doors creaked open each morning, in the steady breath of the gray horse waiting inside. Change, he learned, rarely announced itself loudly. Word traveled the way wind does across open land. Not rushed, not forced. A man arrived one evening leading a mare with ribs showing like old scars. A woman came next, eyes hollow, asking nothing, just standing by the fence until Ash lowered his head and stood still beside her. Then more came. Trucks with no shine, trailers patched with wire, people carrying animals, and grief that no one else wanted. Ethan felt unprepared for them all. He still woke before dawn with doubt pressed into his chest. Who was he to help anyone, when his own life had once been held together by $8 and stubborn hope? He spoke little. He listened more. He worked slow. The land taught him that again. Training at the ranch never looked like training. No shouting. No cracked reins. Just space. Time. The sound of breathing matching breathing. Veterans stood with their hands shaking until they stopped. Teenagers who hadn't trusted anyone in years brushed manis in silence. Families who had lost too much sat on the fence and let the quiet do what words could not. Ash was always there, standing, watching, once wild, once feared, now the calm center of it all. Horses settled near him. People did too. His presence didn't demand attention. It offered permission to rest, to feel, to stay. One cold evening, as light drained gold from the fields, Ethan leaned against the fence and finally understood. He hadn't rescued Ash to fix something broken. Ash had met him in the same place and refused to leave. They had carried each other forward, one patient step at a time. The land responded. Grass thickened. Laughter returned, soft and unsure at first. Purpose replaced profit. And as another frightened horse was led into the corral, Ash lifted his head, calm as stone, steady as ground beneath bare feet. The knock came just after dawn, sharp and deliberate, cutting through the quiet the way bad news always does. Fog clung to the fields, heavy and low, as if the land itself was holding its breath. Ethan already knew who it would be. Some things announced themselves long before they arrive. Raymond Carter stood at the gate in a clean jacket that didn't belong to this place. Papers were tucked under his arm, edges crisp, numbers already decided. Development. Progress. Easy money. Ethan listened without interrupting, fingers curled around the rough wood of the fence. The word foreclosure floated between them like a threat and a promise all at once. He had been here before. Alone. Broke. Afraid. Only this time, the barn behind him wasn't empty. The town split quietly, like a fault line under old ground. Some saw jobs, roads, clean signs. Others saw the horses. The people who came here when nothing else worked. Whispers followed Ethan into the feed store, into church, into sleepless nights where the ceiling creaked and worry pressed down like weight on the chest. When the meeting was called, the hall filled slowly. Folding chairs scraped the floor. Ash Haven Ranch was spoken aloud like it mattered. One by one, people stood. A veteran with eyes steadier than they used to be. A mother whose son hadn't spoken in months until he brushed a gray horse's neck. A girl who said the ranch taught her how to breathe again. Their voices weren't loud, but they didn't shake. That night, Ethan's father sat beside him on the porch, the wood cold under their hands. I once thought pride was holding on no matter the cost, the old man said quietly. Turns out it's knowing what's worth the risk. Raymond came back with a higher number. Ethan didn't look at the papers. He looked at the land. At Ash. At Ben standing by the fence, hope too big for his small frame. No, Ethan said. It was enough. The land was saved not by money, but by hands joined together. A trust formed. Name signed with care. Ben's name written beside Ethan's for the future. At dusk, the gates closed gently. Ash stood watch as stars came out, calm and unafraid. Home held. The wind tore across the fields like a warning, rattling the barn doors and snapping dry leaves along the fence line. Ethan's heart thumped in his chest, matching the frantic rhythm of Ash's hooves. A loose board had given way, a sudden crash echoing through the corral, and the gray colt's panic ignited like fire. Dust swirled in spirals, sunlight fractured through it, and for a heartbeat, the world narrowed to fear. The horse, the sound, the trembling in his own hands. Ethan's chest tightened. Old shadows pressed in, memories of failure and loss he had carried too long. The scream of startled hooves was a mirror of every time he had felt trapped, powerless. He could feel himself reaching for control, for the certainty that had once failed him. But then he remembered the nights, the storms, the long hours of waiting for trust to arrive one quiet step at a time. He exhaled, slow, deliberate. Let go, he told himself. Let him choose. Not force, not fear. The words were more for him than for Ash. The colt twisted, muscles taut like coiled steel, eyes wide and searching, and Ethan stayed rooted, boots sinking into the churned mud, hand loose on the rope, voice low and steady. It's okay. Nothing will hurt you. Time stretched. The air tasted of rain and dust. Slowly, impossibly, Ash's frantic circling became hesitant turns. A hoof pressed into the ground, then another, trembled, but did not flee. Ethan let the tension in his shoulders dissolve. He didn't lead. He didn't pull. He only existed there, patient, breathing, present. The trust between them shimmered, fragile and real, like the first light spilling over the horizon after a long night. When the storm passed and the fields were washed in gold, Ethan finally exhaled fully, knowing the truth he had feared to claim. Fear would always be there, but it no longer ruled him. Ash's flank pressed lightly against his side, calm and warm, and together they watched the sun tilt toward the horizon. Some decisions are already made.